Let's get to it now. Nigeria is no doubt very rich in mineral resources which have been largely untapped because of barriers to improvement and investment. Now, because of full concentration on the oil and gas sector by previous government, the mining sector, with a huge capacity to contribute to the GDP, has suffered untold neglect. While the federal government believes it is on course to transform the country into a mining destination, latest reports by the Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative 90 revealed ways to improve the sector. Now, beyond oil and gas, there are officially 44 different minerals found in commercial quantities in 450 locations across Nigeria. They include gold, iron ore, tin, gemstones, columbite, topaz, limestone, uranium, laterite, amongst others. Well, let's discuss this and let's know what's happening in this particular sector. Chairman, Mining, Solid and Allied Services Group, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Otumba Latishe, joins me in the studio. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, you heard the narrative.
Yeah.
Nigeria has a lot of deposits when it comes to mineral resources.
Definitely.
In about 450 locations. And unfortunately, that sector is contributing just 0.3% to the GDP. What's happening?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us. There's been a huge improvement, actually. I'll give the space a bit of credit. I would also like to give credit to the current minister, Honorable Bawa Abubakar, as well. He's done quite a bit for the industry as well. There's been, at the start of this administration, they came out with a roadmap. The roadmap highlighted both short, long-term goals that they wanted to see happen. Now this is the end of the administration. What has come out, yes, GDP has slightly improved, but we still have a long way to go. Let's call a spade a spade.
All right, you said GDP has improved from 0.3% to what? To about what now?
I think it went to about, it was a marginal increase, to be honest.
Okay.
What happened was that the federal government empowered the federal mines officers in all the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. So they know how to capture, revenue a little bit better now. But that doesn't mean there is more activity from the industry itself. They're just capturing more revenue because they've mobilized the federal mines officers.
Okay, many have talked about governance in enhancing mineral resources as a major challenge, and for us to have a diversification and growth in that sector, we have to work on the governance. What's it for you?
Well, there is one major document that is governing us, which is the Mineral Act of 2007, and which basically opened up the industry. A lot of foreigners have said Nigeria is becoming a better mining destination, but we still have a few things to cover. The major problem, in my opinion, is exploration. We don't have enough exploration data. Yes, we do know there are 44 commercial minerals, but in what quantities, in what grade, in what, in what capacity can the government come in and say, okay, look, I'll give you an example. The OML that was recently revoked from Shell, we all know how blessed it is. That's because the federal government has taken the time to explore that location and they know how much tonnage or liters of crude oil is actually there. Now, what they need to do is do the same thing with all these minerals. They need to go in, they need to do some drilling, they need to do some tests, and then once the international audience sees, oh, these are the things that the federal government is doing now, they know that they're taking it very seriously.
I mean, I got a graphical representation of what you were actually talking about. I was able to see, talking about oil now, where we have these deposits and we're not exploring. So, yes, you want the federal government to go deeper into seeing where these minerals are for us to be able to know how much quantity that exists in those places. But do you think there is enough investment in minerals in Nigeria?
Okay.
If we're talking about foreign direct investment now.
Yes, a few international companies have come in and they have set up shop. We have the likes of Symbol Mining, if I'm allowed to call a few names, Promethean Mining, the most recent Key & Smith that opened the very first, or the groundbreaking for the very first gold refinery. So yes, we are seeing pockets of foreign direct investment coming into mining. But believe you me, a lot more can be done. Because most of the mining, I would say 90% of it is done by artisanal illegal miners. how is the government going to empower those chaps? Now, they wanted to form cooperatives, put them in together, and I mean, but that was what they said 4 years ago. And I mean, here are we now, and what have we done with those large population of illegal miners?
Okay, so if we're talking about there's dominance, as you have said, and proceeds from exports is also, we would be getting more proceeds if we do not have this dominance of illegal miners. But if we're looking at the illegal miners, how's the government actually treating their issue? Should there be a total scrap, or we should reintegrate them into the system? No,
a total scrap would be a colossal failure. Okay. What the government needs to do, because look, call a spade a spade. These chaps are in their backyards and they know these minerals are there and they're the son of the soil. So you cannot exactly stop them from doing whatever they're trying to do in their backyards. But what government can do is educate them, let them know that these actions are dangerous on the environment. Because that's my major problem with the illegal mining. Because when they're sorting out all these minerals, they tend to spoil the waterbed in that area, because they have to go somewhere to wash whatever they've taken out of the streams. And obviously these minerals come with dangerous ores, and these things sip into the water. So what the government needs to do, we know these locations for heavy clusters of illegal mines. So in my opinion, you could easily put a dressing plant in these locations. Nothing fantastic, a 5-ton per hour dressing plant that can sort out beneficiation for that particular cluster. For instance, there's a huge cluster where they're doing lead zinc, for instance, in Nasarawa, okay, or barite in Nasarawa. We all know that the oil and gas companies need barite for the drilling mud. Okay, so yes, there's a direct market in Nigeria. Part of the roadmap calls for import substitution. So things that we are importing into Nigeria that can be found locally, we need to concentrate on those things first. And then they picked 7 of those minerals and called them the 7 strategic minerals. But let's quickly go back. Now, if you pick that cluster and say, okay, look, you guys, everybody here is doing illegal barite. You educate them properly, tell them how to do it properly, and then you set up a mini dressing plant for them.
Okay.
These mini dressing plants are the same cost as maybe 2 or 3 Land Cruisers.
Wow.
The bulletproof ones, you know. So, hey, what are we talking about? And these are things that the government buys on a regular basis. Okay? Now, there are so many ways to increase revenue.
All right. Unfortunately, we do not have enough time to talk more about that, but I'm sure we could get you back on. From what you have said now, we shouldn't just be looking at revenues from exports. We could also make use of some of those things for our infrastructure development in Nigeria. Yeah. We'd have to leave it at that. Otumba Alatishe, right, Chairman, great. Mining, Solid and Allied Services Group, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you.
Thank you.